Hey everyone, welcome back to another Free Roaming Friends video. This week we thought we would sit down and give you 10 just quick random tips that we have discovered as we have gone to Disney World so much that could help you on your next trip. So let's get started. So our first tip is to always rope drop Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios. Magic Kingdom is easily the park with the most rides, and if you can get there right at park open, then you have a much better chance of getting on several rides before wait times get too wild.
So you need to be there before park open, and a good amount before. If you're going to rope drop, if you can try to be there an hour before usually, and they'll open up Main Street, and they brought back the morning show. So most of the lands are cordoned off, so you want to try to prioritize which ride you want to go do and go to that first. A lot of folks go to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train first. I think that's a great idea. If you must do it, you want to go ahead and get it out of the way. If you're doing a lightning lane, go ahead and book that for it. That would be even better. Of course, those go really fast too. But another tip is if you're going to be there all day, just stay there until the park is ready to close. Hop in line a few minutes before close if you don't mind waiting, and then you usually have a lot less of a wait time. And wait times are typically inflated anyway at the end of the night to try to discourage guests from sticking around for hours after park close.
Yeah, in Magic Kingdom, if there's any park that you probably need to spend an entire day in to get everything done that you want to get done, Magic Kingdom is probably it. The other park, Hollywood Studios, you used to not need to rope drop, but now it has so many of those really big attractions that you really, to get the most out of your day and hopefully be able to get on all those, you need to rope drop it too.
Absolutely. Mickey and Minnie's puts a big weight up really fast right there in the center. Slinky Dog Dash puts up a big weight really fast. And of course, the attractions in Galaxy's Edge. Rise of the Resistance is a huge attraction right as you go into the land. Disney will have signs up in the morning and help direct you where you need to go. It's very organized. They get you right in line, so you just need to prioritize which one of those you want to do. And some people prioritize Tower of Terror, and that's okay too. A lot of these rides at Hollywood Studios are newer, and so you want to spend more time on them.
Right.
Or they're newer, so therefore they are more popular.
Yeah, and a couple of side notes just for that. Lightning Lane, we are going to be making a video on our next trip on how we're able to do with the Lightning Lanes during a busy time at Hollywood Studios. And for both Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom, from what we have heard and what we've experienced, along with rope dropping, it's also not a bad idea to buy Genie Plus, because otherwise you're going to spend a lot of time waiting, and Hollywood Studios doesn't have a lot of filler attractions. So those attractions like Dumbo or Alien Swirling Saucers, those ones that typically don't have a long wait, that if you just have some free time, like you're waiting to get on a big one, you can just get on that, and then it doesn't feel like you're just roaming around the park.
They do have the Frozen show at Hollywood Studios, and it's a stage show. Very nice.
Yeah, it's
a very nice show. It's a sing-along. They have in Hollywood Studios the Beauty and the Beast show, which is also a Broadway-style stage show. And they have the Muppets, which is a good little show. But these are all 20-minute or so fillers that typically won't run a huge wait.
Okay, the next one has to do with dining. So dining is tricky now. You have to book it 60 days out, and if you don't book it 60 days out, the likelihood of you getting into the restaurants that you want to get into is slim. So 60-day mark, as soon as you can in the morning, you need to be on the app or the website and ready to book. In order to get into those restaurants, like I said, if you want a chance at it, you've got to do it then. And there are still some that unfortunately, you still might not get.
There's still plenty of things to eat.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't get the dining reservation that you want, typically there's a different place that would offer similar cuisine if it's something you're looking for. If you're looking for a particular character dining, you need to book that right away. And I do believe that if you're on property, you can book for the length of your stay at the 60-day mark.
Yes.
So if you are staying for 10 days, lucky you could book potentially 70 days out because you're staying for that last day's reservation. Yeah. So you might want to prioritize some of those other more popular restaurants towards the end of your trip.
Also, just another kind of side tip, if you are going to Epcot during one of the festivals, a great thing to do is eating at a lot of the booths there because they have fantastic food at all of the festivals, and that's a great thing that you can do, and you don't have to have a reservation for it.
You don't, and it is expensive, but everything's expensive, of course, so. Yeah. Okay, this is one of my favorites. For Magic Kingdom Day, I love all the parks, but I do not love them equally. In Magic Kingdom, I love the least. And that's because in all of our parks, if you're looking at Epcot, there's a very predetermined place to go. All of the paths lead you around the park in some organized manner. At Hollywood Studios, you have a couple open areas, but they're really wide open areas, but there's walking paths. And the same thing at Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom might be the most organized walking paths that we have. At Magic Kingdom, it does not work that way. Find yourself behind the carousel at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Find yourself in Fantasyland ever. Try to get to the Tangled bathrooms, which I do recommend.
Yeah, they're nice. They're nice bathrooms.
People are zigging and zagging everywhere. There's no clear path to go, and everybody's rushing to get to their own destination. We've got families and strollers hitting the back of your legs, and scooters, and people upset, and plus it's in the mid-afternoon. And everybody's cranky, including you.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. I'm not, don't.
We are.
Maybe you're not that. I'm usually cranky.
We're
Because we were smart and we rope dropped Magic Kingdom. So, we have some lunch. Maybe we don't have some lunch in the park. Maybe we have a reservation. Either way, we're leaving that park for a few hours. That's the hottest part of the day. The kids all need naps and they're not taking them because they're in the parks. We're trying to get the most bang for our buck. But sometimes the best option is to go back to the hotel. Go back to your resort, have a nap, have a little bit of pool time, have a good meal. Maybe you have a decent lunch.
Even if you don't want to go back to the hotel, a great thing to do is to leave Magic Kingdom but stay close by and just go to the Polynesian, the Grand Floridian, or the Contemporary, or Fort Wilderness, and have a lunch and just get out of the crowds and the heat and the craziness that is Magic Kingdom.
Here's something that here's something, and we get burned not every time, not anymore.
We've been burned several times.
Well, and not really burned, but
Dampened.
drenched. If it's a 0% chance of rain, you might be okay. If there's a 15% chance of rain, we have a yellow light. But 20% chance of rain, at any point during the day, we're putting an umbrella in our park bag.
Yeah.
Every day. And one for each of us. Like, we're not sharing. Because we don't pack a huge umbrella. It's just a little umbrella. And it travel size, and it packs down small. I also like to pack a windbreaker just because it helps repel some of that water and keep you dry so you can take that off and you don't feel as soaked. But that's up to you. That's extra stuff to pack. I know that I always carry that if we know it's going to rain. But always pack an umbrella. If you're really, make your shoe choice smart as well. When there's rain in the forecast, bring extra socks, if you have a pair of Crocs or something, or flip-flops that you can wear during the rain event so you can keep everything else dry, that's a good idea too. But always bring an umbrella, because if you don't, it's going to rain, and if you do, it's also going to rain.
He's right.
So.
He's right. Or a poncho. We're not poncho people, but
We're not.
ponchos are cool too. Something to
We're
protect
not
you from the
poncho
rain.
people.
No.
So if you're rope dropping these parks, or if you're getting there very early, typically before your breakfast time, and you wanna skip out on breakfast, that's okay. I never do. I always have a breakfast bar with me, or I'll eat it before we leave. But if we're gonna have a breakfast in the parks, we always try to do a couple rides before that happens, unless our reservation dictates that we can't. And the reason for that is that you're missing, when you take a ride early in the morning at Seven Dwarfs Mine Train or Big Thunder Mountain, you get one of those big ticket items out of the way early. You have the benefits of your rope drop and riding early in the day, and you get a meal before everything starts getting crowded. Because typically when you have your breakfast reservations, it's going to be in that sweet spot of time when parks aren't quite so busy, and a lot of families haven't made it into the parks yet. So if you can get on something before, it's always better.
Yeah.
In our opinion, it always works for us.
Yeah. A lot of times we eat, like he said, a cereal bar, then ride some rides until it's not doing the trick anymore, and then we go and get a snack. But yeah.
Oh, if we're going to do a breakfast, it's not a reservation, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess in the same, I don't think this is on our tips, but bonus tip for lunch, if you have a dinner reservation planned, all of the parks have they're either like little fruit stands, or they call them like, there's like the Liberty Market in Magic Kingdom, but they sell like little Baby Bell cheeses and fruits and just like little snack items.
Yeah.
And we'll get a few of those and sit down and snack and have a break.
Okay, our next tip is to utilize gift cards. We do this all the time. Pretty much every time we go to the grocery store, we just grab, a $25 Disney gift card. We just kind of put them away, and then we've accumulated several by the time we end up going on a trip. And then we use those for food, for souvenirs, and it's a really good way to budget and to make your time at Disney not hurt quite as bad in terms of what you're spending.
Right, you spend it kind of on the front end in little bits, and that helps. So if you have a trip planned in 3 months or a year, go ahead and start getting some of those gift cards together. The saddest part about it is that, yeah, they do go fast once you get there.
Yeah.
But we use them all the time. That has been part of our travel arrangement since we started doing Disney.
Yeah. And actually, with the gift cards, we actually talked about those a little bit in one of our previous videos.
It's a little older video.
It is an older video. We probably need to do an update on it.
Well, we have a new bag.
Yeah.
About park bags.
Yeah. But
for that too.
Yes, but it is basically what we pack for Disney, for a day at Disney. And so we will link that right here, and you can go watch that when you want.
We were going to do 10 tips for you, and we put a couple bonus tips in there that, I don't know, partial tips, I guess we could call it. They don't really deserve their own category or their own number in this video, but this one does. So this is a real life full bonus tip, and that's merchandise. First of all, if you see something that you like and you really, really like it, get it.
Yes.
It may not be available in other parks. If it's something common, you can probably wait and get that. The other option you have is to keep in mind what you're purchasing, and when you purchase those goods, you can usually have those sent to the front of the park. At one point you could have them sent to your room if they ever bring that back, and that's a good way to keep you from carrying merchandise around. The other part of the merchandise tip that I want to share, and then maybe Kelsey can add something. The other part of the merchandise tips that I want to share, if you're going to be purchasing for little ones and they're going to want a Mickey Mouse plush or something like that, go ahead and pre-purchase some of that stuff, usually at a cheaper price from wherever you can find it, before you leave. You can maybe, if you have some room, pack it with you in your bag. But when your child wants that Mickey plush, you already have it, and you paid a fraction of the price for it, possibly. So that's a good little tip for little ones. I'm pretty sure Kelsey's used it on me a couple times. So I think that's a pretty good tip.
One other thing about merchandise and buying it when you see it. In the past, you could pretty much count on World of Disney at Disney Springs having pretty much everything, and you can't do that anymore because there are a lot of things that are specific to certain stores and certain parks. So if you like it and you know you're gonna want it, buy it right then and figure out a place to shove it in your bag.
Sure. The other thing you do is, if you really like it, you could ask a cast member who's working if it is available, if it's a common item. For instance, the 50th anniversary stuff is all going to be pretty common, and it's going to be found from Disney Springs through Animal Kingdom and all points in between. But if you have a really nice zip up that you like, I know this is going to be painful, this is a really nice zip up that you like, and you know it's going to be popular, go ahead and get it, because you won't be able to find it at Emporium the next day.
You won't find it anywhere else. And then you'll have to leave.
And then you'll leave without it.
Yeah.
With a slightly heavier wallet.
Okay, now this is a little bit harder now, although I think I've seen people doing it. So we've done it. So I don't really...
We weren't supposed to.
I don't really know if it's not allowed anymore or what, but if you have extra days built into your trip, it's a great idea to resort hop. These resorts, all of them are so well themed and they're so beautiful, and it's really fun to visit them all. One trip we visited all the deluxe resorts. We just took an afternoon every day of our trip and went to a different one. Now granted, if this is your first time at Disney, you obviously, if you don't have, a lot of extra days built in, then you probably don't want to do this, and that's okay. But if you have extra days, do it, because it's awesome and it's so fun to see these places.
And see our tip before about leaving the park in the early afternoon. You're in the park, just find the shuttle, the Disney bus that goes to whatever resort you're wanting to go to. You also can utilize Uber. You cannot go from resort to resort. So if you're staying, for instance, at Coronado Springs and you want to go look at the Grand Floridian, you cannot go resort to resort that way, but you could take the bus or take Disney transportation to a park, even if you don't have a park reservation for that park, because the bus just drops you off before the gate. You just have to find the gate for like the Grand Floridian or whatever you were wanting to go check out. That's a little bit of a convoluted way, and you might consider paying the Uber or Lyft fee for convenience, and that's completely up to you as well. You can also book reservations for dining at these other resorts that you're not staying at. So if we're staying at Coronado Springs, we can still book a reservation at Steakhouse 71 at the Contemporary.
All right, this one's gonna seem pretty simple.
It's not.
Just be patient. You are gonna have to wait in line for rides, for food,
For the bathroom sometimes.
For the bathroom sometimes. It's hot in Florida.
Sometimes.
A lot of times. And there's always a lot of people. So just put on your patient pants before you ever even get in the transportation to go.
We have seen, and part of that patience is making sure you're regulating yourself so you're getting enough sleep. Your mood can be determined a lot based on that and what you're eating.
Drinking.
If you're staying caffeinated and eating Mickey beignets all day, you might be a grumpy bear by the time you get in the parks for the morning, because you'll be a little sleepy and that sugar crash will happen. But also just be patient. We have seen people, some of the nicest people in the world at Disney, and we've also watched marriages fall apart. So right before our eyes, yeah.
Also, very important, be patient with cast members. Be very patient and very understanding with them. They are there doing their job, and they are the ones that truly make the magic for everybody that visits. And we have seen so many people just be very impatient, very rude with cast members, and just don't be that person. Just put on your patient pants and have a good day.
Good.
one. So obviously we don't have human children. We have fur children that can't go to Disney World, but plenty of people do have human children. And from a lot of the families and our friends that have kids that we've talked to that have been to Disney, you want to try and stick to their normal schedule. If you remember a couple tips back, you know, we talked about how you want to leave the park in the middle of the day, especially Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom draws a lot of families, a lot of little ones, and that's fantastic. But they get tired, and we've seen several times where families try to push their little ones through the day, and if they're used to taking a nap at 2 o'clock or having a snack at 11 o'clock, they need that. And if you're going to try and push them through that, it's only going to make things stressful for them. It's going to make it stressful for you. So when you're planning, try to build into your itinerary time to go back to the hotel. Let them sleep. You sleep. I imagine that plenty of parents also need sleep. I probably would. So just try to stick to their normal schedule. If you want to stay out in the evening and try and catch that fireworks show, then that might be okay, because that'll be something really exciting for them to see.
The sun will be down. It'll
Yeah.
be cooler.
Yeah. So, but as far as like in the middle of the day, any type of scheduling thing that your little one is used to, stick to it. Stick to it.
Character dining is another thing that people love to do. For me, I'll tell you I don't love it, and I don't need it, truthfully. But once the character comes to the table, you have to be happy. You can't stop smiling. But again, for us, it's not a must-do all the time.
No.
But if you want to do character dining, make sure to book that in advance, preferably at the 60-day window. Tusker House has an excellent character dining for breakfast, and they have like your normal breakfast stuff, but they also have a couple things that are more unique, and adults would like it. And it's not just eggs. It's just not eggs from a bag, and I think that's great. So, but as character dining comes back and parks get more and more crowded, book those as soon as you can. And if you don't get what you're looking for, keep scrolling. Check your My Disney Experience app several times a day. A lot of times people will cancel a reservation, and those will be dumped back in. So you can maybe pick one up for the next day or for later on. I know that we've received dining reservations an hour before we had to go.
Yeah.
And we would change parks and just do whatever we had to do.
Yeah, but the great thing about character dining is that if you want to meet all those characters, you can do it in one spot. You get to meet like 4 or 5 characters. For example, at Tusker House, you get to meet Goofy, Donald, Daisy, and Mickey, or at least that's who we met when we were there. And that's 4 characters, like the Fab 5 characters, like in 1 hour while you're there eating, and they come to you. So you don't have to wait in line to go meet them. And that, in my opinion, is fantastic, because that gives you more time to wait in line for other things. So, okay, so those are 10 and then some tips that we have come across and that we have found to be extremely helpful when visiting Walt Disney World. We love Disney World, but it does take some planning, and it does take some tips like this to kind of get the best of everything. So we hope you enjoyed this video. We hope it was helpful. Please let us know in the comments if there are other tips that you use that you think are fantastic. We would love to hear them. And have a great week. We'll see you next time. Bye, guys.